no chairman of the board ever had a real input on the design of an airplane. I worked for Boeing for many, many years, and this is not going to change anything other than they're dressing up the pig to look like a ballerina, and it's still a pig.
Well, so why bother at all then? I mean, surely at this stage...
It's for Senator Blumenthal and other people that want to politically use this. And they have a lot of international resistance, so they have to show they're doing something. They have a really good board, and these are good people, so I don't want to criticize them for doing this, but that's the political aspect of getting the MAX back into the air, and they did what they had to do.
Betsy, you come to the table as a highly regarded expert on corporate governance. Break down the timing of this decision, why the board decided to take this action now, and what message are they trying to send?
Well, clearly the board had to respond, and it's been 7 months. And in many circles, shareholders and international investors feel very better about having a separated CEO and chairman. And we see that happen when companies get into trouble. You can see it at Equifax, Wells Fargo, Tesla. So that's a normal step that a board would take. And also it frees up the CEO to focus more on the operations.
Did they wait too long?
You know, as an outsider, you never know. But I think given that it's such a complex set of issues, it would seem to me it would have been better to do it earlier and free up the CEO and have a strong second voice that's well regarded.
We looked actually, Betsy, at a couple of high-profile examples of where there'd been a chairman and CEO who lost the chairman title because of some kind of mistake that the company may have made as opposed to just retirement planning or anything along those lines. Here are some of them. Michael Eisner, Kerry Killinger, Ken Lewis, they didn't last much longer, 4, 6, 8 months respectively, after they lost the chairman role. Of course, other examples like Dennis Muilenburg, like Elon Musk, still have CEO. Your kind of take on whether this move means there's a chance or a higher chance today than last week that Muilenburg will find pressure in his CEO role as well?
Well, I think when there's a catastrophic crisis, you can see that in almost every circumstance, in less than a year, the CEO is gone. And this is a pretty large catastrophic crisis. I think also when you see this kind of a signal, it is very hard to imagine whether he will make it through. I would guess within a year, once they get through the congressional hearings and earnings calls and dealing with the regulators, that they'll start looking for backup successor alternatives.
Gordon, you disagree?
No, I think she's right, but they have a really deep bench at Boeing, so it'll be an internal candidate that'll be over. I know David Calhoun from his days at GE. He's a fine man, so as interim chairman or maybe permanent chairman, they'll make the right decision, but Boeing has a very, very deep bench of executives.
David Calhoun has been a director there since 2009. Betsy, I've heard you say you believe in term limits for directors. What's your sense of whether he's in a good place time-wise to take over as chairman?
Actually, I think he's in a very good place. You know, he's been there since '09, so he understands the business. He's got a fabulous background, a great reputation for being a steady hand in troubled times. So I think they're very fortunate in having him step in. And I'm sure that the board is also happy to have someone who's dedicated and focused to getting their input. When the CEO is busy, they're busy operating, and they only have so much time for the board.
So, Gordon, I just want to go back to what you just said, because it's sort of slightly contrary, at least to the tone of what I felt your first couple of answers were. So you actually do think that Dennis Muilenburg's time as CEO as well is ticking away?
Well, it's just the political realities of today's business place. Obviously, as Betty said, no one knew it was going to last this long. It's actually ludicrous that it has. However, it's more than just Boeing and the FAA today. It's international regulatory bodies. It's different nations who resent what's happened to them as far as their reputation goes. So it's a complex issue. This is one that will mitigate or ameliorate some of the heartburn. It may have been done as a trade to some regulators, but it's made to get peace and get the MAX back in the air. And I think it will go and help do that. But that really physically, scientifically won't fix that problem, but it looks good. And that's what we're dealing with, is looking at not actual substantive help on the MAX.